Hi, getting started with ArchiCAD is something that actually starts from your desktop. Double-clicking the icon on your desktop brings up a dialog box like this. And on this dialog, you're required to create a new project or open an existing project. So you choose any of the options that best suit. If you are a entirely new user, then create a new project. Or if you just intentionally want to start a new project, this is good to go. But you can also pick up an existing project from your documents. So we are going with a new project. Set up a project setting. Set up project settings. This is automatically picking ArchiCAD template. ArchiCAD has a template that it's automatically there for you. But if you want to use your previous settings as a template, ArchiCAD also allows you to do that. But we are going with the ArchiCAD template. Set up work environment. This is something that ArchiCAD determines on its own. What do you want? Do you want entirely new work profile, or you want to use an existing work profile? I have been using ArchiCAD before, so this option is automatically selected for me. What this simply means is that maybe you have used ArchiCAD and you pull out some certain tools that were not available, or you reposition some certain tools, then ArchiCAD is going to recall those arrangements for you as a profile. But if you want to make use of the default profile, how you first launch your ArchiCAD and it launches, it appears, you will choose the default profile and just click new. So let's use create new and default profile to see how the environment will look like. Okay, don't mind the report dialog box here. It's some of my plugins that are missing. I will simply close this up. Okay, this is the default settings for ArchiCAD. If you are using ArchiCAD 10, 11, 12, 13 or 14, even 15, then you should have the same work environment. So this is how your ArchiCAD should look like. And so once the program takes you to the work environment, it presents to you a 5-section screen, which is basically the working tools hosted by the toolbox here. As you can see, working tools are here, and on these working tools you have the design section, which has the small arrow pointing down. You also have the document section, which has not been collapsed yet. We have collapsed it now. The document section now, arrow pointing down. You have so many tools here that you can work within the 2D aspect of ArchiCAD. And you have another option here, category rather, here, that the arrow is yet to be pointed down. Let's collapse that. Okay, it has been collapsed. More, so you have more tools here. You have the lamp, the corner window tool. You have so many tools here, cameras and so on. Those are the tools we are going to use to design our 3D. So let's go back to the design section of this toolbox where the main tools are. So this is the toolbox. So now the property box here, the property tools. These property tools usually host some of the basic tools of that particular program. You can see it includes some of the familiar tools we see in other applications like Microsoft Word or Excel. New, open, save, print, cut and paste, undo and so on. But these other tools here are basically for ArchiCAD project, which you have the find and select, you have the pick or parameter, so many of them. So basically we are going to touch on the key tools here that will be making use in ArchiCAD. For example, these are pick up and inject parameters. It's used to copy properties from one object to another. If you reference that to AutoCAD, then you're talking of match properties. That's what that simply means. And you have the guidelines. The guidelines, if enabled, which is usually done by automatically, if that is enabled, then you can pull out guidelines, as in click somewhere around the ruler guides here. These are your ruler guides. Click somewhere around here and then drag down, then you have your guidelines. So you do the same for the vertical ones, and you can do for the horizontal. Just click somewhere on the panel, on the ruler panel here, and drag down, and you see the ruler guide will come out. It can be disabled. You can just click that and it turns those guys off. You can still enable them. That can help you in one way or the other. So the other one here, vital one here, is the tracker. The tracker is actually a tool tips. It gives you tips of the particular action you are about to perform, or it's ongoing. For example, you pick a wall here, and you're trying to create a wall. Then this, you can see the tool tip. This is it. A tool tip is giving you the distance. It's determining the distance and the angle. So that's how the tool tip works. Let's escape that, and okay. So those you have the ruler guides here. By default, I don't think the ruler guide comes, but you can still turn it on and still turn it off, on and off, and stuff like that. Okay, you have so many tools here. We can't spend much time on the introduction to these tools individually, but it's to give you a fair knowledge what the property box has available for us, and we will get to know the tools as we require them in our design. So now the navigator panel. This navigator panel, as the name implies, it takes you around the project. For example, right now we are on the ground floor. You have ground floor, you have story 1, story 2. So long as your building does not exceed the standard height of a bungalow, then you're within the ground floor. But by the time it exceeds the standard height, then you're exceeding to a story. Then it automatically highlights the story as well, just like this ground floor is highlighted here in thick characters. So but if you intentionally intend to design a story building, then you have to set these things up. You can right click and choose story settings, and then you set them based on your project specifications. So that's simply what that means. But our design for this project, for this tutorial, is going to capture a bungalow, so we are going to fall within the ground floor section. So that will remain highlighted. Don't be confused about that. Okay, so the elevation aspect of it, by the time we finish our design, any elevation you want to view, just double click here and then it takes you to that elevation. So you have all the 4 corner elevations there. And what next? The 3D perspective. You can always change from perspective to axonometry, which gives you a more gable view like. So you can also, in the schedule, you can at any point, the windows and doors, the components you have used on the project, you can always request for the schedule by double clicking the list of the wall list, windows and stuff like that. You can get inventory of your project on the go, so it's very useful. Those tools are very, very useful. I think those are the most basic tools on the navigator panel. So let's take a look at the drawing aids below here, where you have the scaling of the drawing. By default, it scales to 1:100, which is very okay for me at this point. And the zoom level, you can always zoom to 100, but that will be too much for you. So you always zoom in a way that you will be able to view all your drawings. So the other aids here are same. They are zoom. You can zoom, zoom just like that. You can also use the scroll, the real time, the scroll zoom. Scroll zoom takes you like so. Once you just click on that, and begin to click on this, click on the point, and then begin to move your mouse, then you see that it will be zooming. And this is pan. You can always pan, click on it, click at a point and begin to pan. If you are used to AutoCAD, you should be familiar with these tools like zoom, reel, and all this panning and stuff like that. The zooming section, you can reset the orientation by clicking here, and if you have changed your orientation, you will see that the rotation will be reset. And okay, one more thing, you have the preview section here, which takes you from 2D. Right now we are in the 2D aspect, but by the time we make a drawing here like this, okay, we make a drawing and we want to preview this drawing in 3D. The option is available for us here. You can actually press the F3, which do same, but you can also click here, and it gives us a preview of the 3D. So that's how quickly you can swap between 2D and your 3D. Very good swap. And by the time you are in your 3D here, you can use your scroll button to scroll closer. But the panorama view, you have to use this orbit. You click on the orbit and then it takes you around. Click and hold and then begin to drag to see all the aspect of your perspective view. At any point you can press the F2 or click on this icon here, which takes you back. So this is a basic introduction to the user interface of ArchiCAD.